Aloha. I'm Derek, and in this special video comes straight to you from the beautiful Hawaiian island of Kauai, where my family's been vacationing for the last several days. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a few new features in the Q3 2026 release of the XLEV8 Excel Add-in and a couple of items in the PowerPoint add-in as well. As a reminder, there are hundreds of other tools in Excel and PowerPoint that will help you work a whole lot faster in those apps, just like the ones you're going to see today. First up is the ability to search for keyboard shortcuts. If you've seen any of my content before, you probably know that I'm a sucker for keyboard shortcuts, both the native ones and dozens of ones that are custom I built for myself and I've used other people's ideas as a guide as well. I frequently forget the ones that I don't use very often. Not long ago, I was looking for the shortcut to hide the outline symbols, so the little guys you're seeing above the column letters and to the left of the row numbers. I don't even think there's a ribbon button for that one. If there is, I don't know where it is. So I Googled it and almost immediately forgot about it after that. And I figured this would be a great search box that could be built right into Excel. And it looks just like this. So if you wanted to search shortcuts, you could assign this to a keyboard shortcut if you wanted to, which is kind of ironic. And the first thing you'll notice is the last 10 that you have run are going to be shown by default right here. Now, the one I was looking for was something to do with the outline symbols. I remember it was either outline or grouping or something like that. And there you go. Control 8 was a shortcut. So this entire search bar is going to show you both a shortcut, the category, which is other here, as well as the action that it's going to do. Off to the side, it also shows those. So there's that shortcut, there's a category, there's a description. And then if you wanted to see a full list of shortcuts, very much like this, with 125 or so of those, you can get the whole list, as well as others in other apps. And you can even edit the shortcut list that it is using to surface this search box. You could press the button down here to do that. So with that whole name in there, let me back up, okay? So we're going to rerun this, okay? If I wanted to know what that was, I could either search for Control 8, there it is right there, or I could search for the word outline. And then with the entire thing there, using the arrow keys up and down to search and traverse through those, just press the button and notice it did the same thing. So now I'm pressing Control 8 back and forth. It did the same thing. So it'll run the shortcut too. So this is a great way for you to, one, find them. Maybe there's some that you're not even aware of, or remind yourself of them and learn them, as well as just run them quickly. It might be the better option. The other thing, this is now another option in the global search box. Okay, so if you are familiar with that, look at all of these items below the search box that you can now search for. So you've had the ability to do macros, inject lambdas, search for recent files, sheets and named ranges in the file. And now when you put key S, it will do keyboard shortcuts. And just like the search box itself for the shortcuts, it's going to show you the last 10 things you did. And notice I've got a variety of these. We've got a macro, a file, etc., some other things there. But if I wanted to run that exact same one, I could put KS outline, and notice right there, it does the exact same thing. And it becomes the most recent thing that I've run. So if you're going to run things over and over again, keeping them in those 10 most recent commands that you've run is super freaking helpful. Again, if you wanted to completely change what you're seeing in terms of the shortcuts that are populated, with any of those highlighted in the global box, or it'll show it by default in the search box, press Edit Shortcut List. And what it's going to do is show you all the ones that are in the search box in the back end of it. So there's 123, I believe. I added this one right here to the very end, but you can completely change up which shortcut keys are used, which category it is, what action. You can make these different. So if you don't like what the action says or the category, you can completely change this list. Add, update, delete, and once you run that again, it's going to process those changes. So super helpful right there. You run it again, it's going to make those as personal to you as you want them to be. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to run through here is the ability to add formula suffixes. What does that mean? Okay. Well, if you wanted to run a suffix, whether it's adding a lookup table, applying a tax rate, a growth, or a deceleration rate of some sort, you want to add it across a whole bunch of formulas, this gives you a great way to do it. So I'm going to select a couple of cells here. We're going to search for this new macro called add formula suffix. Okay, so just a couple letters there. Now, cool thing about this, whatever you're going to add as your most frequent suffix, you can save that, checking the box right here, as your default. And notice I didn't type anything, it just shows up. That happens to be the one I want to use right here. So as we add that, notice it added it to every one of these cells. Okay, so you don't have to pick them individually. Your formulas might be completely different or similar, but maybe a little bit different in terms of the reference, columns, rows, whatever. This is going to basically ingest all of the formulas, apply that suffix, and then push it back to the grid in one bulk step. Pretty cool, right? Now, the other thing that you can do with this is apply this in bulk. So let's say you have a bunch of formulas all throughout your workbook that you want to apply, so different sheets, ranges, etc. There is a way to do this in bulk. So right here, I'm looking for bulk add formula suffixes. So notice that pops up. It adds a settings sheet. We just need to fill these in, and when we can run it again. Now, I'm going to come over here, and I've already populated this, so you don't have to see me type all that stuff out. We're going to put it right here. So notice what this is asking for. It's saying, where's the sheet? What is the named range or address that we want to use? And then what is that suffix? So I'm going to use a very similar one, okay? Now I'm going to remove the ones right here so that you can re-add those. If it finds it, it's just going to ignore it. It's not going to add it twice because that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But what I'm doing with this one is basically creating a fake formula reference. Now I just wrote a blog article about that, so I'm going to link that in the comments below. But what this is doing is basically allowing you to break the links. So if you have intricate formulas, you have bespoke functions that not all users have that you might send your file to, or if you have some type of an add-in or an app like a financial system that has custom formulas where not everybody has access, or it's going to make you log in every time you refresh, you can add this and then break those formula references. I would definitely recommend saving the formula filled file because then you don't want to lose that. But then if you want to have kind of a memorialized paste value approach to it, this helps you do it. So let's say we want to add this suffix to all of these different sheets and ranges here. Now that we've filled it in, we just run that same macro again, and it's going to add them. So back over here on sheet 1, notice it added them. Sheet 2, it added them. This time, I believe, with a named range. With one of them, there's a named range in here. This one as well, whether you want to split that up or they're completely different all over the place, it really helps you do that. Now, I take this approach here with a settings sheet, doing things in bulk for all kinds of things, whether it's working with files, with sheets, with formulas, with formatting, all kinds of stuff. And the beauty is you leverage the awesome Excel grid that everybody's familiar with to use find, replace, copy, paste, filter, sort, and of course, formulas. And we use formulas. You get to reuse that effort over and over again. So there's all kinds of cool macros within the add-in. They're going to help you take that bulk approach to make all kinds of big updates. Okay, now let's transition over to PowerPoint. Something I haven't really included a lot in previous videos, but probably going to start to because I find these really helpful. As I transition my career from accounting and finance over into pre-sales, I use PowerPoint even more than Excel these days, and there's a lot of opportunity to make PowerPoint easier. Now, the newest features that are added here in PowerPoint, first one is going to allow you to add a faded image. So let me show you what this looks like when I put it in presentation mode. Split the settings here so that my little notes over there to the side is not the one displaying the slide. So notice here, it's okay. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but what I want is for this background image here to be faded so it's easier to read some of the things. This is a slide I was using for a recent training that I built. Okay, so what we're going to do is select that slide. We're going to search for a macro called add faded image. I've run it recently, so there it is right there. And what this does, you might not have seen it, but let me show you what's happening here with the selection pane. It added another picture below, and it added a little faded rectangle. So what this looks like, it also added an animation. So it fades to that transparency, gives it a nice polished look. So if we put this in presentation mode, notice what happens when I run that first animation, okay? It fades that to about 50%, okay? And it's just easier to see. Now there's some that it's even more dramatic than this one, but notice the title's a little bit easier to see and maybe some of the other items, okay? So pretty helpful. Anytime you have an image, you can run that. This is also available if we wanted to run it with the picture picker, okay? So I've got that mapped as Control-Shift-P. Notice that it adds that as Option F there. So pretty helpful. Now the second one, there's a couple of ways to do this. A lot of times we want to take some type of image, background or otherwise, and we want to make it the full height and width of the slide. Okay, I've been doing this a whole lot, and just it's a bunch of clicks or drags or whatever, and sometimes you don't get it just right. So this one is going to use, there's a couple of different ways to run it, okay? One of the things that I often like to do is paste pictures. So let's say that I'm going to paste or copy this entire slide, I'll put it down here, and paste as a picture. And the paste special picker There is option C to paste as a picture. And if we add an F, it's going to make it full screen. Okay, pretty cool there. There's a couple of other ways to do that, whether you're using the shape picker. So I think I have that as Control Shift H here. So if we wanted to set the shape, position, and size, but then again, add an F. So that's really where this comes in, is adding the F, makes it full screen. Pretty helpful, right? Now, one last thing. This isn't a new item necessarily, but it is a pretty awesome update, I would say. One of the most helpful macros in here that I use all the time, again, lots of presentations, is called export notes. Now you can export them to Excel as cell notes, or put them in the cells itself, or put it out to Word. I love option P here, that's why it's my default. To take this file, separate it into another PowerPoint file where the the slides are shown as thumbnails. And the notes themselves, there's just more to it. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna run this. The update is that any hidden slides are called out with red text and the word hidden. So if I press P here, it's going to build that. And here's what it looks like. So here's all the notes. Here's the thumbnail, notes, thumbnail. And in this one is a hidden slide. It shows you that it's hidden with that red text and the word hidden, right? And I put in notes, it's hidden just, for dramatic effect, I guess. So pretty cool there. Super helpful. I run that one a heck of a lot. Very, very helpful for when you're doing presentations, because you can print those out and have a lot less paper to flip through as you're going through, just to kind of orient yourself on what's going on in your presentation. So that is it for this quarterly update. To try out any of these tools out, just head over to www.xlevate.co, go to the file downloads link at the top, or use the link in the comments below. Remember, there are hundreds of other tools designed to save you 200 plus hours a year with all kinds of shortcuts and bulk automation. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment with what you like, share with a friend, and of course, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on other great content in Excel and beyond. Mahalo. Thanks for watching, and have an excellent rest of your day.